Minutes before the transfer window slams shut, Barcelona completed an administrative move that on paper reads as bureaucracy, but in practice feels like a statement of intent. Marc Bernal, the 18-year-old midfielder who spent the past season fighting to come back from a devastating knee injury, or book in pass, has been officially registered with the first team. The registration only became possible after Hector Foot's loan to Elche freed the necessary salary room, a reminder that modern squad building is often as much about precise timing and roster management as it is about scouting and tactics. But this is more than balance sheet manoeuvring. Hansi Flick's decision to endorse Bernal's promotion at this moment tells us the coaching staff sees something tangible. Not just potential, but a player whose attributes could be used in competitive matches. That Flick hopes to have him available for the upcoming tie with Valencia adds a layer of urgency. This isn't a ceremonial nod to recovery, it's a preparation for contribution, however measured that contribution might initially be. Bernal's path back to the pitch has been steep. A year ago, he suffered a ruptured anterior cruciate ligament and damage to the external meniscus in his left knee, an injury that paused a promising break into Barcelona's first team and forced months of surgery, rehabilitation, and careful rebuilding of strength and confidence. For many youngsters, that kind of setback marks a crossroads. Some slip from view, others find a new path in resilience. Bernal's return has been painstaking, controlled gym sessions, progressive on-field work, and monitoring from the medical staff until he reached a point where the technical team felt clearance could be contemplated. Over the last 6 weeks, he has trained regularly with the senior squad, pushing through fitness tests and learning a tactical role under Flick's instructions. Yet everyone around him has insisted on patience because reintroducing a young player after a severe knee injury carries clear medical and psychological risks. That caution is baked into Barcelona's approach. The club did not need to rush Bernal back. Regulations would have allowed him to remain classified as a reserve player while finishing his integration. Instead, leadership chose to elevate him to the first team roster, which sends a powerful signal. Barcelona trust him and they believe he will be a useful tactical option this season. For Flick, who has repeatedly emphasized the value of youth blended with experience, Bernal offers an injection of energy, ball progression and a pressing mentality that fits the coach's preferred pattern. He may not start immediately. The smarter play will be to manage minutes carefully, measure load and use substitute appearances to test match temperament. Each appearance will be a barometer. Minutes without setbacks will transform hope into a realistic expectation. The immediate sporting implication is practical. Availability for Valencia means Barcelona deepen their midfield options as the league begins to compress into a relentless schedule. For rival coaches, Bernal's registration does two things at once. It forces them to account for an extra dynamic option in Barcelona's rotation, and it broadcasts the club's faith in its academy pipeline even after injury. The longer-term implication is narrative. This is emblematic of a club willing to reinvest in its young homegrown talent rather than only buying solutions from the market. If Bernal reclaims the spark he showed before the injury, he could relieve pressure on established starters, offer tactical flexibility late in games, and become a symbol that recovery can lead to readiness, not retirement. Fans will understandably be divided between optimism and caution. There will be immediate punditry about whether the club acted too soon or too cleverly, and social feeds will flood with highlight reels of Bernal's pre-injury displays juxtaposed with his recent training snippets. Those first few competitive minutes will feel heavier than most because they will carry the weight of the last year, surgeries, lonely rehab sessions, and quiet, relentless work. For Bernal, the moment is intensely personal. To step onto that pitch again will not simply be a professional milestone, it will be validation of resilience and discipline. For the club, it is the kind of decision that, if proved right, reverberates a manager's foresight, a medical team's prudence, and a youth program's patience, all rewarded. So watch for the small signals, substitution timing, minute counts, the contexts in which Flick chooses to deploy him. Measured exposure is the prudent path, explosive reintegration is the headline-grabbing one. Either way, the registration marks an important pivot in Barcelona's season, a deliberate gamble skewed toward long-term gain. If Bernal's comeback is anything like the club expects, what began as an administrative tweak in the final minutes of the window could, over the coming months, become one of the quiet turning points of Barcelona's campaign. One that says as much about the club's identity and future plans as it does about a single teenager's return to the field.